more shots just fired.
Dinner-time shoppers inside the Portland neighborhood Kroger store suddenly find themselves in a shooting. Police rush to find a gunman.
Suspect still moving. He's right about this SUV.
Shoppers panic, racing to get out. One woman crashing her car in the chaos.
All right, we got to watch the front doors of the car, or there might be someone else inside.
With guns drawn, police end the threat.
One suspect down.
And it is a late developing story right now here on the Night Team. We've just been told by Metro Police that sometime in the next 30 minutes, they will be giving new details about a person found dead after a shooting at the Portland neighborhood Kroger store. Hello, everyone. I'm Doug Proffitt. That shooting happening at the store near 35th and Bank Street, it was full of shoppers. The Night Team is covering all angles, from the frightening moments in the store to police rushing through it looking for a gunman. Jesse Cohen begins our coverage with that update coming soon from the police chief at LMPD. Jesse?
Well, Doug, just about 2 hours ago, police told us that Chief Conrad would be here at LMPD headquarters to give us the latest, but he is still not here. And now police are telling us that he could arrive around 11:15 or any time during our newscast. Now, this all started around 6 p.m. tonight when there were reports of shots fired and people trapped in the grocery store. We arrived just shortly after, and the scene was chaotic. There were at least 30 witnesses blocked by crime scene tape in front of the building while a man lay dead in the parking lot. People were in panic about what they say they had just seen and heard. Many tell us they saw a fight with two men, one with a knife, the other with a gun. They say there were multiple shots fired in the store while people hid in freezers in the bakery section and in different areas of the Kroger trying to take cover. Now, none of this has been confirmed by police just yet, and that is what we are waiting for. They spent hours speaking to witnesses on TARC buses about what they had seen. Now, like we said, Chief Conrad said he would probably be here around 11:15 tonight. And if that does happen, we will be taking that to you live. For the Night Team, I'm Jesse Cohen.
All right, Jesse, we'll be back to you outside police headquarters. Now, this shooting happened with a store full of customers right after 6 o'clock tonight. One of those customers posted this video onto Facebook from inside the store showing the suspect with a gun in his hand and people running inside the store. Tyler Emery's been talking with the woman who took that video, and Tyler's joining us live from the Kroger store at 35th and Bank. Tyler?
Doug, I did speak with her not too long ago, just as she was leaving. After talking with detectives about what she heard and saw inside that store, she described the moments as scary, saying she never expected coming here to this Kroger tonight would mean hours away from her kids at home. A trip to the grocery store turns chaotic.
And then all of a sudden I heard pow pow, and then people took off.
Inside, shoppers confused what was happening. Jennifer Schilling, who posted a video on Facebook, says she watched a fight between two men unfold in front of her.
I watched them fighting, and then he took the knife, and then he pulled the gun out, and then that's whenever I was hiding behind the pops.
That's when she says people ran, looking for anywhere to hide. Some telling us they hid in offices, in a freezer, or behind the meat counter. Others hiding anywhere they could among the aisles.
I was deciding to run or not run because I was scared if I got up, ran, he would shoot me.
Outside the Kroger, people heard the shots.
Just the gunshots, about 5 or 6 of them.
Scattering through the parking lot to get away.
People running everywhere, screaming, "He's got a gun, he's got a gun."
Police arrived on scene quickly, leaving shoppers thankful they were able to walk out of the store. But with so many witnesses, TARC buses were brought in to serve as the place for shoppers to tell detectives exactly what they saw. Just another example of the panic people felt here earlier. One woman tried leaving so quickly, she ran her car into a truck, completely damaging her front end. And as you can see, left the car behind. Like many others, this parking lot is still filled with cars as people instead chose to leave here and go home with family members. Live tonight in Portland for the Night Team, I'm Tyler Emery.
All right, that investigation still developing as Tyler's showing us at the Kroger store. Now, a Kroger spokesperson released a statement late this evening saying they're deeply saddened by this shooting incident, adding, thanks to the quick response of the local police department, our store is now secure. The safety of our customers and associates is our first priority. They go on to say the store will reopen after the investigation concludes. And this brings up another terrible memory in our community, also at a Kroger store on October 23rd, 1 year ago. The Kroger store in Jeffersontown was the site of a deadly shooting. Police and the FBI are calling a hate crime. 2 shoppers were killed. Police say targeted because they were African American. Maurice Stollard and Vicki Jones. As for the man in jail for the attack, Greg Bush, 6 days ago, a judge sent him back to a state mental health facility for more evaluation after prosecutors and defense attorneys called for more testing. WHAS 11 News is going to stay on top of the story throughout this newscast. As we just told you, we are waiting for the police chief to make his first statements about what happened there. If it happens during this newscast, we will carry it live right here on the Night Team. Follow-ups and new information also coming tomorrow. You can follow us on WHAS11.com, and you can also get our reports by downloading the free WHAS 11 app. But again, we expect some kind of comments now just moments away. We've got cold front moving in, and tomorrow it's going to be a blustery, chilly day. Chief Meteorologist Ben Pine is live in the Weather Center to track it all for us. Hey, Ben.
Yeah, Doug, take a look at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Lower 20s, our coldest night so far this season. So warm layers heading out the door tomorrow morning, especially the kiddos out at the bus stop. Here's the planner for our Friday. A frosty start, probably scraping off the windshield if your car is not in the garage. Cold lunch in the 30s, and we'll struggle to hit around 40 degrees despite some sunshine for our Friday. And take a look at this as we start our next work week. A winter blast on the way. Look at all those colors on Futurecast. I'll explain what we can expect with the coldest air coming our way next week. Doug?
All right. Thank you, Ben. Don't go to bed just yet. In the next 5 minutes from the Night Team, you're going to hear from an Elizabethtown horse owner hoping to find the person who shot 2 of his horses. Plus, see the woman the Clark County Sheriff's Department is looking for after they say she tried to mail drugs to the jail in southern Indiana. And it's a costly crisis. We're going to introduce you to a group of people in Kentuckiana who are pushing for change amid skyrocketing insulin prices.
Kristen Goodwillie with tonight's Rewind. Kentucky Senate President Robert Stivers is clarifying comments he made on election night about the gubernatorial election. Stivers was previously quoted as saying the legislature could decide the election between Andy Beshear and Matt Bevin. Well, today, Stivers said under the state constitution, that could happen if Bevin chooses to contest the election, but adds both a recanvass and filing an application to contest both have a very high bar to succeed. Greater Clark and Jennings County schools are among districts across Indiana canceling class on November 19th. The cancellations come as thousands of teachers and staff make plans to attend Red for Ed Action Day, a day dedicated to lobbying the Indiana General Assembly on educational issues.
What the heck? I only have 2 weeks left, so what am I going to do now?
Cosmetology students at Trendsetters off Dixie Highway left with questions after the school suddenly closes. Owner Melissa Bingham blames the closure on financial issues, ensuring students will be reimbursed for tuition and they will get credit for hours with the state board.
And new here at 11, an Elizabethtown horse owner left heartbroken tonight after he says someone shot 2 of his horses. Roy Wright says the animals were shot sometime overnight between Tuesday and Wednesday. One of the horses, Sarge, was shot 4 times and died from his injuries. The other, Generator, is recovering. Wright found several shell casings in the field, and neighbors say they heard noises in the middle of the night. Wright and his wife say they're shocked at what has happened.
Who would do such a horrendous thing to such a beautiful animal for no reason? He died with, he'd been eating, he had some grass in his mouth. He still had some grass in his mouth when he must have just gone down, and it was awful.
She's right. It's a terrible, senseless crime here. And if anyone has any information about who shot those horses, you need to help them out. Contact the Hardin County Sheriff's Office at 270-765-5133. Do you recognize this woman? The Clark County Sheriff's Office in southern Indiana is looking for Vivian Alexander, seen here at a Clarksville post office when police say she tried to mail drugs into the Clark County Jail. Colonel Scotty Maples says Alexander tried to mail the drugs to 2 inmates, Logan Rudolph and her own son, Brandon Sears. Both are now charged with conspiracy to commit dealing a controlled substance.
For people to consciously be mailing drugs into the facility while we're trying to help them, you know, it's almost like they're predators preying on the weak.
Police were able to intercept the drugs before they made it to the jail. If you know where Vivian Alexander may be, call the Clark County Sheriff's Office at 812-283-4471. It's a basic need for most diabetics. You must have insulin to live. So why is this easily made and plentiful hormone skyrocketing in price? Some are turning to the black market, others rationing their supplies. We investigate, talking to those struggling and looking at the insulin makers on the Night Team.
Tonight's Kentucky Lottery jackpots: Mega Millions $145 million, Powerball $50 million.
The Kentucky Lottery, providing over $3 billion in grants and scholarships.
It's at the top of the list when it comes to pharmaceutical price gouging, and diabetics are paying for it. Almost a century ago, the inventors of insulin sold their patent for just $1, ensuring that everyone who needed it could get it. Today, people are paying hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for 1 month's supply. Brooke Hash is taking us inside this costly crisis.
I am one of the lucky people.
Angie Summers is a diabetic.
I was diagnosed when I was in my early 20s.
One of 30 million Americans struggling to keep their blood sugar under control every day. For those with type 1 diabetes, they lack insulin, a key hormone we can't live without. Others, like Summers, who are type 2, can't effectively use what they have, and there's no substitute. Yet studies have shown 1 in 4 Americans living with diabetes ration their insulin because of its skyrocketing costs.
There's so many of us that just fall through the cracks on that.
Since 2002, the average list price of insulin has more than tripled.
With that insurance, it ran me about $800 to $1,000 per insulin, and I was on 2. So needless to say, I just went without.
Summers paid the price for it about 6 years ago.
It was awful, I'm not gonna lie.
She ended up in the hospital with neuropathy, and within 6 months,
I lost my leg. We have people dying because they can't afford their insulin.
She points the finger at the manufacturers of the drug, known as the Big Three. Summers called them out in front of lawmakers back in August.
Pricing insulin at such an astronomical amount is nothing short of premeditated murder.
Novo Nordisk is the world's largest maker of insulin. A spokesperson says it recognizes prices are high, stating as a company focused on improving the lives of people with diabetes, this is not acceptable. However, the company argues price is just one factor. They also blame the healthcare system in general, with middlemen negotiating prices between manufacturer and pharmacy. It's estimated a single vial of insulin costs between $3 and $6 to produce, and yet today's retail price in the U.S. can exceed $400.
This increase in price is simply because they can. Something has to be done.
Going without insulin can cause kidney failure, loss of vision and sensation in the feet, heart attacks, strokes, even death.
If the only reason they were in the hospital was because they can't pay for the insulin, it doesn't make much sense.
In other countries, there is a regulation on pricing. That's not the case in America.
They are messing with my health, and it's not fair.
Kevin Traeger's a type 1 diabetic who's found another solution.
I've seen a lot of national stories about these caravans to Canada.
People turning to the black market, crossing the border to buy cheaper drugs and bringing them back home. It's only legal if you're using them for personal use.
It was a no-brainer. It's the same exact product. It is manufactured in the United States, and the pharmaceutical companies ship it to the pharmacies in Canada.
This summer, Traeger made the trip himself.
It was unbelievable how easy it was. You didn't need a prescription. You tell them what you want, and they sell it to you for 1/10 of the price. And it was frustrating.
He showed me 2 vials of insulin.
This one, which I bought in Louisville, was $450, and this one was $57.
Same exact thing.
Yes, same exact product.
He even found a pharmacy in Ontario that will ship the insulin to you.
This disease is so hard to manage with a refrigerator full of insulin. I cannot imagine trying to go 3, 4, 5 days without taking it.
Our local lawmakers are working to better the system, too. Earlier this year, Kentucky passed Kevin's Law, allowing a pharmacist to dispense an emergency supply of insulin to a patient without a current prescription. But the biggest change will have to come at the federal level. Today, Summers gets her insulin for free, a cost her friends have absorbed to ensure she always has it. But she knows that won't always be an option so she continues to fight.
We know what you're charging. How much profit do you need, and how many people have to die for them to recognize, okay, we need to do something? Now what are you going to do about it?
In Louisville, Brooke Hash, WHAS 11 News.
And there is some good news for diabetics tonight. Insulin producer Novo Nordisk is expected to cut its insulin prices beginning in January, similar to what competitors have also promised. Big change on the way as we head toward the weekend. And then what about Monday? Well, Ben Pine is going to walk us that way. Some exciting winter weather on the way, Ben.
Yeah, a little winter blast as we go into next week. We'll see that with our Futurecast maps. But for tomorrow, be prepared for the frozen Friday morning. Frosty out there with temperatures in the 20s. Lunchtime temp 35 degrees, just above freezing, and struggling to hit 40 tomorrow. 20 degrees below normal for this time of the year, but we'll have lots of sunshine across the area. Take a look at the current wind chills. We're down to 27. It feels like temperature in Louisville, Fort Knox 26, 25 in Litchfield. Look at those teens just off to the north. So December-like temperatures out there for tonight. Cold front well to our south. The clouds are exiting off to the southeast as well, and that north flow keeping those temperatures way below normal for now as we head into the weekend. So Futurecast shows those 20s out the door tomorrow morning. Yes, you can grab the sunglasses, but also the warm jacket. Here's that little bit of a warm up tomorrow afternoon, upper 30s to around 40 degrees with a partly to mostly sunny sky. Mostly clear tomorrow night, back down to the 20s. So there's your early Saturday morning. And then Saturday afternoon, a little bit warmer with upper 40s to near 50 degrees. Still about 10 degrees below normal on Saturday. Sunday, we're in the upper 50s, nice and quiet for the entire weekend. Then Monday, here comes that polar front, bringing a chance of rain first. But if that cold air catches up in time, we could see a switch over to a brief period of some light snow. Too early to talk about any accumulation potential, but this will be interesting to watch as we head toward Monday and maybe perhaps causing a few slick spots late Monday into early Tuesday. We'll watch that very closely and give you updates over the next couple of days. For Monday, you see those temperatures dropping. These are the wind chills. And so as we go into Tuesday morning, that's where the heart of the cold air begins to drop over the Ohio Valley and Kentuckiana. Single digit to teen wind chills out there early on Tuesday, November 12th. And as we go into Tuesday afternoon, we may have temperatures for only about the 5th time on our record books below freezing for high temperatures. Very rare for early in the season. So some of the coldest temperatures possibly on record on the way early next week. Out there now, Furniture Fair Cam, Morgan & Morgan HD Camera Network. Current temperature at 34 degrees, wind chill 27. There's that north wind flow. These are the actual temperatures, not the wind chill. We're down to 28 in Paoli, Bedford 28 degrees, at freezing in Elizabethtown and Litchfield checking in at 31. So here's your hometown temps for tonight. Low of 25 in the city. Surrounding spots in the countryside, suburbs down to the lower 20s. Just be ready for that again out the door tomorrow morning. Upper 30s and lower 40s for tomorrow afternoon, and it'll stay on the cool side for your Saturday with a high of 50 degrees. 58 on Sunday. That's our warmest day right there. Dropping temperatures, that wintry mix possible, especially late Monday. Could see a couple flurries last into Tuesday. A high of just 30 degrees on Tuesday. Some rare air right there. And Tuesday night down to 18. It stays pretty cold through the middle of next week.
Lasting flurries, he said. So I love that. Well, has the Louisville football team found a crack in Miami's armor? Ken Spencer with tonight's sports here from the Night Team. Next.
John Calipari didn't know what he was going to get from his guys in the opener at Madison Square Garden, and not just from his freshmen. This was the biggest stage Bucknell grad transfer Nate Sestina has ever been on as well. Sestina finished with 7 points, 6 rebounds. Calipari said he got this story when he called the Bucknell head coach on Wednesday.
They said after their game with Fairfield, they were on the bus watching our game, and when he made that three, the bus had to pull over because they were going absolutely bonkers on the bus, which, you know, that's the kind of stuff that makes this great. Like his dad, he said, "How were your parents?" They came up to him after, like, holy, like, I mean, what's better than that?
Nobody needed the bye week more than Lynn Bowden. Now that he's playing quarterback, takes a lot of hits. It also gave the coaching staff Time to expand on Bowden's package as the Cats' new QB. According to Mark Stoops, the junior has been a good pupil.
It's been good to see Lynn grow, just have an expanded role. I think guys like him, it's good for him. He likes it, he needs it, because, it's just the pressure of learning, the pressure of putting more on his shoulders. You get a guy like that, and they kind of thrive in those situations and feed off of it.
Miami's defense gets most of the press for the Hurricanes, and rightfully so, because their offense has struggled. However, last week against Florida State, they seemed to find something, primarily with the deep ball. For much of the season, this is an offense who has struggled to protect their quarterback, Jaron Williams.
Well, I think what they've done here lately is a little bit more max protection, keeping more guys in to protect, as well as getting the ball out quick at times as well, to help offset some of that deficiencies that they've had early on in the season with their offensive line.
The only thing standing in the way of a third straight Louisville City FC USL Championship game appearance is Indy 11. These two will meet up on Saturday in Indianapolis for the Eastern Conference crown. This will truly be the rubber match. These two have played twice this season, both games ending in 1-1 draws.
I remember talking to a couple of the Indy players that I know pretty well, Ilya being one of them, and I said, we'll see you in the Eastern Conference final. And they were like, absolutely, plan on it. So I think both clubs have had that in their mind, and we have a mutual respect for each other.
That's it for sports. Right now, let's go back to Doug Prophet with breaking news.
Thank you very much, Kent. And we've just heard from the police chief moments ago. Let's go out to the night team's Jessie Cohen. She covered the scene of the Kroger shooting at 35th and Bank, and is now at police headquarters where we just heard from the chief. Jessie?
Like you said, Doug, just minutes ago, Chief Conrad was here outside of police headquarters, and he tells us that police did shoot and kill the suspect tonight in the Kroger parking lot. And this was after the suspect came out of the store and started shooting at responding officers. He tells us there was an altercation inside of the store, which led to him shooting inside of the Kroger. And although no other victims are hurt, they've spent all night interviewing the witnesses.
There are several witnesses that will continue to need to be interviewed. We plan to hold a press conference tomorrow afternoon where we hope to provide additional details.
To us tomorrow about more information about who this man is, what witnesses said happened. But Police Chief Conrad says tonight the hardest thing was hearing about this Kroger shooting that brought his memories back to last October when another one happened. Reporting live outside of LMPD headquarters for the Night Team, I'm Jessie Cohen.
All right, and all of us remembering the Kroger shooting in Jeffersontown. Again, the police chief saying when their officers arrived, a man was firing shots outside when they got there, and the officers shot him. They have returned fire, and he was killed there at the scene in the parking lot. Again, no shoppers were injured tonight. We'll be back in a moment here on the Night Team. Well, tonight, early holiday shoppers filled the Grand in New Albany for the 32nd annual WHAS Crusade for Children auction. And the Night Team's Heather Fontaine was there taking on a new role of auctioneer.
Do I have $100? Yep. $100. Do I have $125? $150.
Heather raising money. Good for her. Census Bureau employees put together more than 100 holiday items for this auction, even getting a helping hand from the owners of the Grand.
They have donated their venue to us this year, and we are so grateful because it has allowed us to grow so much this year.
With the total from this year's auction, the Crusaders from the Census Bureau expect to bring their grand total to well over $275,000 and counting for the WHAS Crusade for Children and the Kids of Kentuckiana. And I say, Heather, what an amazing
Good job, Heather. That's
job.
not easy.
I tell you, it's very hard.
She has found her life calling.
There you go.
We can get her to read the forecast that fast.
Yeah, it's going to be a cold one. Be ready for those 20s. A frosty start tomorrow morning, a high of 40, and then really cold and maybe a wintry mix early next week.
All right, well, I'll be back here on the Night Team tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. Good night.